I have no problem with platforms charging because they're a business. They've got to run as a business. I mean, I know Just Giving, I think, is the one that gets quoted a lot, and I don't know if I think it's between 7 and 11%, is it, or something? But I mean, we had 33 pages on Just Giving last year, which raised us over £25,000. Great.
It's an enabler.
And if it didn't exist, we wouldn't have that money. Of course, I try to point people towards a good exchange because it's a much lower rate. But people, it's brand awareness out there with Just Giving, and people often will just, no matter what I could do, they will sometimes just go to Just Giving because it's brand awareness. And equally, obviously, we've had lots of people raise through the good exchange. So. But I have no problem with fundraising platforms if they're enabling, as Jane says, it's about enabling. And I couldn't. There's no way we would have raised that £25,000 in any other way. So I don't. I find it a little bit personally uncomfortable where they're now doing this thing where they say, "Oh, if you'd like to pay an extra £2 to actually pay for the platform." I don't know, but I suppose it gives people choice. They could do that. Yeah. They could say no.
But their stats on that is huge.
But yeah, that's it.
80% of donors going through Just Giving are paying the fee.
Yeah.
So it neatly leads on. The question was asked actually in the survey, and unsurprisingly, the answer was that. Grant makers, you should be paying. No, the applicant should be paying.
Yeah.
But when you look at I think M&G Investments, they've surveying loads of charities as well. The average cost of fundraising is 17% of the income that is being raised is the cost of fundraising. So I think what technology platforms are trying to do is help drive that 17%, the average 17% down. There is a cost of fundraising. I think the conversations that we've certainly had, I don't think anyone disputes that there is a cost of fundraising. It's just a question of where does that cost sit and is it a fair and reasonable one. I think there is more of a reluctance of where there is a membership fee, a subscription fee, because actually if it's not doing anything for me, why am I paying? But if it's doing something for me, then actually as long as that cost is fair and reasonable, there is a cost.
And I think the point is, for me, we need to be more honest and we need to have a more combined voice on the cost of running a charity. I think we're the parent body for the London Emergencies Trust that handled the individual donations that went through the Red Cross to the victims of terror attacks in London and Grenfell Tower fire, and a massive amount of media pressure to make sure that every penny that was given by the public went to a person that was affected by the fire. That was possible because trusts and foundations covered the running costs of making effective disbursements, doing all the work that's involved in liaising with the emergency services and others to track who did go to hospital and who was killed and who are their next of kin, and all the stuff that goes into that kind of work was covered from elsewhere. Public donations, every penny did go to the people who are victims of the attacks or the fire. But that's because there's a massive media thing, and there was no response, there was no combined response, there was no voice from potentially you could use NCBO or the Charity Commission or big bodies that could bring people together to say, actually, it costs this much to give the money away. We need to be honest about that because we want to do it well. And to do it well does bear a cost, but we're not very good about having a collective voice as the sector about what that means. To use the commercial sector, people are aware that they need to spend money on marketing to get a product to market and to get people to buy it. We're less good at saying you need to spend money to get money in the charity sector, and I think that's the common voice piece that technology and portals and others can enable us to have a more consistent message.